Okay, tonight I'm making taco soup. You're going to need a pound or so of hamburger meat, some taco seasoning mix, onions, a container of beef broth. You're going to need some black beans. You're going to need diced tomatoes, the big can, corn, chili beans, pepper, salt, chili powder, and of course my always so crazy mixed up salt. You don't have to have that. I just like it and everything. You can do this with adding cumin and jalapenos and all that stuff and things to spice it up. But I just use the taco seasoning mix. It makes it easier. It's got the cayenne. It's got all that kind of stuff in it. So this just, I'm all about making it simple and using as few ingredients as you can. Now, of course, this has a good bit of ingredients, but it's really good. It goes a long ways and it makes a really big pot. So I'm going to get the onions and the meat started and I will go to the next step. All right, so in with my meat, I put my onion. I would say it's equivalent to one chopped up small onion, salt, pepper, chili powder, my crazy mixed up salts, and some, oh, I said chili powder. So I'm going to get this browned, and then again, I'm going to add my taco seasoning and a cup of water. Let that simmer for about 15 minutes, and then I'll start adding all my other ingredients in. Okay, so my meat has been cooking on medium low for about 15 minutes with the taco seasoning, the onion, chili powder, salt, pepper. I did put some little bit garlic powder in there. Tasted it, need a little bit more salt, so I added it. I did found had some salsa left in my refrigerator, so I went ahead and put that in there. So now I'm going to add my other ingredients. I'm going to add my chili beans. And you can use whichever chili beans you prefer. I know they have different ones nowadays. Not really sure why. A can of corn. I don't drain my corn. I do drain the black beans just in the can. I don't really, rinse them and stuff like that. I just kind of just pour them in there. And then the tomatoes. And for your liquid, to make it soupy, you're going to use the whole container of beef broth. Oh, that sounds real fun. I remember I made this for my dad about a month or so ago. And I'd made it before, but my dad, my mom and dad are in their 80s now, and I thank God every day I still have them. But he called me and he said, "This is the best soup I have ever tasted. I really believe this is the best soup I've ever had." And that just makes me happy because that's one thing about my parents. They're always really great about telling me how much they appreciate it, and how much they enjoy my cooking. So that always makes me feel pretty good. So it is my dad approved. So that should tell you something right there. So I'm going to let this go. I'm going to let this cook for probably about 30 minutes or so. Let it cook on medium low. And I will check it and see if it needs any other salt or pepper. I might I might add a little bit more water to this. Normally I just use the beef broth, but I may wind up using like a can of water just to make it a little bit more soupy. But that's going to depend on how the flavor is after about 15 minutes or so. So I'm going to let this simmer and I will be back. Okay, so it has been simmering for about 15-20 minutes. After about 15 minutes, I tasted it again. I did add a little bit more salt. That's going to be to taste, so you may or may not have to add more salt, but always taste your food as you're going. So this is how it looks when it's done. As you can see, it's nice and pretty and colorful. And what I like to do is I like to get me a nice bowl, and it's cold outside. Even though we're in the South, it is kind of cold today. So I just scoop me up a bowl. I like to serve mine with the scoops. You could do Fritos, crackers, whatever you prefer. I just think it tastes good with the scoops because you can kind of use the scoops almost like a little spoon if you want to. Or break some up in it. I like to add a little bit of cheddar cheese once I'm done. So you got a little bit of the cheese on the top. Got your scoops going. So this total from beginning to end, you're talking browning the meat, seasoning the meat, putting everything together. You can have this meal done in approximately 30 to 45 minutes, and you can have it on the table. And as you can see, this is a pretty big sized pot. So this will feed a good bit of people. Plus, I usually have some left over. I could put in the freezer in smaller containers, and that way when I just want some soup, I can just grab one of the containers out. So, y'all have any questions, let me know. If not, enjoy.